Good evening. It is May 11th. It's about 11 p.m., a little later than I really wanted to do this video, but better later than never, as I always say. I wanted to share that on Friday, I released the first episode in my Karma Detective series. It will be released every Friday morning on Substack. So look for it. You might be entertained. The second thing I wanted to mention was the building plans. I'm a retired building contractor, and next door they're building, preparing to build, or laying the groundwork for about 30 apartments, senior living apartments, here in Cardiff, California. There's a lot of apartment building going on in San Diego County. I drove over to Escondido, which is an inland city in San Diego County, and I passed several big apartment complex projects. So apartment building, they're preparing for, I want to provide housing for a lot of people who want to move to this great climate here in California. But as someone was saying today, it's going to be like LA and then New York, because there'll be so many people here. Well, the more the merrier. We'll see. Okay, I have several other projects that I'm working on. One is the Future Vision contest. Perhaps you've heard about it. David Diamandis, he's an AI researcher and entrepreneur, very wealthy fellow who has a weekly podcast, YouTube podcast, with his four other friends who are all MIT graduates. They talk about the rapidly developing AI world, how AIs are surpassing all human intelligence on different fronts, being able to outsmart, outwit, outperform human beings, legal, medical, and other kinds of professions. And they forecast that at some point there will be UBS, which is Universal Basic Services. So people will be people will receive help in surviving this AI apocalypse. But ideally, it will be a utopian world. There will be more plentiful, prosperity, abundance, and so forth. So let's be optimistic, even though it doesn't look very optimistic. Everything is temporary. This too will pass, as you've probably heard, as many other things in the past have passed, and something new, different, possibly infinitely better will replace it. Another project I'm working on is the rewriting of my second sci-fi book, The Blue Frequency. It wasn't fully developed the first round, so we're going back through the last 7 chapters. It's almost completed, and it will be soon. I'll be soon publishing it on Amazon. I'll announce that. And I also had an idea, inspiration for another sci-fi novel. It's a space adventure. You could call it Asteroid Mining 101. Anyway, more about that in the future. It's just in its first chapter or 2 now. Okay, and my interaction with AI. I recently was reminded that there's two ways that we can use AI. One, we can use it as a crutch. We can depend on it, to do all our thinking, or we can use it as a partner. And it will do a lot of the repetitive work, but if we retain the responsibility for directing it, the creative thinking part, the critical thinking part, and just keeping an eye on what it's doing, because sometimes it doesn't really do what it's supposed to be doing. I've noticed that. So I did ask the AI, how can we create a partnership? What do you need to hear from me in order to, back off from, doing everything on your own? So it suggested some prompts, just like working with anybody, you have to find out, what you can expect of them. And so it did suggest that I give it a series of prompts every time I wanted to create a project that would remind it, what its responsibilities were and what mine were and so forth. But I found that a bit cumbersome, because oftentimes I'll have an inspiration and want to just start creating and interacting. I don't want to have to look for this parameter file set of prompts each time. So I said, well, what about a master prompt that we could put in your settings so that automatically you would assume this cooperative partnership role? And so far, I haven't quite been able to achieve that, but I will continue to work on it, because I do want definitely to have a partnership with the AI. I do want to keep on growing intellectually, emotionally, keep my thinking cap on and continue to be creative on into the rest of my life. Let's see, what else is new here? I guess that's basically it. I encourage you to look for the Future Vision contest. I understand that there are many contestants. 10,000, I believe, was the number I read. 10,000 entries. Yeah, and entries in the contest. So it does take some creative work. You need to come up with a 12-page summary of this video. They want to. The premise is the inspiration for this contest, according to David. I'll try to give it justice. He reminds us that many of the things that were part of the space Star Wars, not Star Wars, no, Star Trek, the Star Trek series, many of the devices and technology that showed up in that series inspired young people to go out and create them. So, we have in the Star Trek, they have a little device, communication device. I think it was called the recorder or something of that nature, and it would enable them to talk, like a walkie-talkie thing. But we have that now in the smartphone. Of course, it's a lot smarter, I think, than that little device they were using, but the idea is that it may have inspired someone to try to achieve that level of technological advancement. And that's what this contest is meant to do. People have a vision of how technology will develop, will create a film that will inspire the younger people today to, transcend the the level of technological advancement that we are currently experiencing. Okay, well, that's all we have today. If you got this far, I truly appreciate it. I'm trying to improve on my videos, talk a little slower so that I'm understood. Usually my thinking is much faster than my talking, so my talking tries to keep up with the speed of my thoughts, but then you can't understand what I'm saying if I don't enunciate each syllable. So that's what I'm working on. There's a great speaking coach I usually watch, Vin Vigi, I think his name is. He's an Asian fellow, talks very fast, but apparently he has helped many people improve their speaking voice, and he has a vibrant YouTube channel with many, many videos on how to improve one's speaking presentation. Okay, well, I'll put a link to his channel below, and you can see what I mean. Okay, take care. Until next time.